Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in history, a person does not simply walk on the earth, they carve a pathway of light that others follow for centuries. A person whose courage shakes mountains, whose wisdom softens hearts, whose devotion draws people closer to Allah just by hearing his name. Today, we speak about such a man whose life redefines loyalty, honor, sacrifice, intelligence, and spiritual strength. A man who did not chase greatness, greatness chased him. This is the story of the one known as Asadullah, the Lion of Allah, the gate of knowledge, the beacon of bravery, Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib. A childhood lived in the home of the Prophet is not an ordinary childhood. It is a childhood shaped by revelation, molded by divine wisdom, and nurtured through the most perfect character ever to walk the earth. Such was the early life of Hazrat Ali. From the moment he opened his eyes, he found himself surrounded not by worldly luxury, but by purity, simplicity, and spiritual illumination. Every corner of that home carried the fragrance of faith, every moment carried lessons of morality, and every word spoken echoed truth. Imagine being a young child and watching the most truthful man, Muhammad, live his day. Watching how he treated people with kindness, how he prayed with humility, how he spoke with honesty, and how he cared for the weak and the oppressed. These were not lessons taught through textbooks. These were lessons lived. Hazrat Ali absorbed them naturally, effortlessly, as a sponge absorbs light. His personality, even as a young boy, reflected clarity, sincerity, and courage because he was raised in the very environment where revelation descended. When the Quran began to be revealed, Ali was right there witnessing the earliest signs of a world that was about to change forever. While other children played in the streets of Makkah, he was watching the Prophet receive divine guidance. He saw the weight of revelation on the blessed face of the Prophet. He saw the softness of his tears when he recited the newly revealed verses. He saw the strength in his patience as he faced the hardships of delivering the message. These moments carved a spiritual maturity within Ali that no teacher, no scholar, no worldly experience could ever produce. Growing up in poverty did not make him bitter, it made him grateful. Growing up without luxury did not make him feel deprived. It made him understand the real meaning of richness, character, faith, and sincerity. He learned early on that true honor does not come from wealth, age, or status. It comes from closeness to Allah and commitment to truth. This childhood prepared him for the great responsibilities that awaited him. It laid the foundation for his bravery, his knowledge, his devotion, and his wisdom. Long before the world knew him as the Lion of Allah, he was simply a young boy quietly absorbing the light of prophethood, light that he would later carry into battles, leadership, and the hearts of believers for generations to come. When the message of Islam was still a whisper, still hidden within the walls of a humble home, still unknown to the world, there stood a young boy whose heart Allah had already prepared for truth, Hazrat Ali. He was not influenced by society, not pressured by expectations, and not driven by fear of rejection. His acceptance of Islam came from a place of pure conviction, sincere observation, and an innocence unclouded by the norms of a corrupt society. When he saw the Prophet praying, when he heard the early recitation of Quranic verses, something awakened inside him, a recognition that this message was from the Lord of the worlds. At an age when most children are busy with games and distractions, Ali was reflecting on matters of faith, purity, and devotion. His young heart saw what many older, experienced men could not see. His mind grasped what seasoned thinkers failed to grasp. He did not ask, "What will people say?" Nor did he hesitate, fearing backlash or loss. Instead, he asked a simple question, "Is this the truth?" And once his heart recognized it, he embraced it without turning back. His acceptance was not casual, it was courageous. In a society where idol worship was the norm, where tribal pride dominated every decision, where standing out meant facing ridicule or even danger, a young boy stood firm on the side of truth. His faith was not shaped by habit or tradition. It was shaped by clarity, trust, and spiritual maturity far beyond his age. Becoming the first young believer was not just a historical fact. It was a reflection of his pure nature, his sharp intellect, and the divine preparation Allah had written for him. This early acceptance of Islam also demonstrated his unwavering loyalty to the Prophet. He believed in him not because of miracles or worldly arguments, but because he knew his character, honesty, and integrity better than anyone. Having grown up in his home, he recognized immediately that this message was not just a call, it was destiny unfolding. With his acceptance, he became a symbol for young people across generations, that faith is not limited by age, and that courage does not require physical strength, it requires conviction. His embracing of Islam in its earliest, most challenging days set the tone for the fearless warrior, wise leader, and devoted servant of Allah that he would later become. A life of bravery often inspires awe, but a life where bravery is paired with deep humility inspires transformation. Hazrat Ali was the perfect balance of both. His courage was not born from arrogance or a desire for dominance. It was born from conviction, sincerity, and a profound sense of responsibility before Allah. Whenever the call for justice echoed, he stood at the front, not seeking glory but seeking the pleasure of his Creator. And whenever humility was needed, he stepped back, not out of fear but out of wisdom and gentleness. In battlefields where seasoned warriors trembled, Ali walked with calmness. His steps were steady, his heart unwavering, and his trust in Allah absolute. His bravery was not reckless but purposeful. It was guided by principles, not emotions. Each time he defended Islam, he fought not for himself, not for fame, but for truth and protection of the vulnerable. Yet, even at the height of his strength, he never allowed pride to settle in his heart. Victory did not inflate him, it humbled him. Power did not corrupt him, it refined him. But what makes his bravery so remarkable is how perfectly it was balanced by compassion. He was fierce against injustice, yet incredibly gentle with ordinary people. Children felt safe around him, the poor found comfort in him, the oppressed found a protector in him. This contrast, strength and softness, was not a contradiction, it was his character radiating from a heart trained by the Prophet. There were moments when his humility shone even brighter than his courage. When he was offered positions, praise, or privilege, he accepted only what aligned with righteousness. His clothing was simple, his food modest, and his lifestyle far from what one would expect of a man with such influence. Even as a warrior known for unmatched skill, he never boasted. He never reminded people of his victories. He never allowed others to elevate him beyond what was just. Instead, he constantly reminded himself and others that honor belongs only to those whom Allah honors. His humility also appeared in his forgiveness. Even when he had full power over an enemy, he forgave when it brought people closer to truth. He controlled his anger even in moments that would push others beyond restraint. Strength in the battlefield was one thing, but strength against one's ego, that was his true greatness. Hazrat Ali taught the world that courage without humility becomes tyranny, and humility without courage becomes weakness. But combined, they create a legacy that continues to inspire hearts centuries after the dust of the battlefields has settled. The wisdom of Hazrat Ali was not the kind that comes from books or debates. It was the kind that comes from a heart illuminated by faith, a mind nurtured by the Prophet, and a soul refined by constant reflection and worship. His words were not merely statements, they were windows into deeper truths. They carried layers of meaning, transforming ordinary thoughts into timeless guidance. To understand his wisdom is to understand a man whose intellect was anchored in piety, whose insights were shaped by revelation, and whose clarity cut through the confusion of his time and continues to guide the hearts of believers centuries later. From a young age, he was known for his sharp mind and profound understanding. People would approach him with complex questions, and he would respond with answers so simple yet so powerful that even scholars spent years unpacking them. His wisdom flowed effortlessly because it was not about impressing people, it was about helping them see truth more clearly. He once said, "The value of a person is measured by their character," a reminder that honor is not earned by status or wealth, but by the purity of one's inner self. Statements like these were not philosophical theories. They were reflections of his lived reality. He understood the human soul deeply. He knew how attachment weakens a person, how arrogance blinds the heart, and how patience transforms hardship into opportunity. His teachings revealed a balanced approach to life, an approach where the dunya is not rejected but placed in its correct position, where emotions are not suppressed but guided, where challenges are not feared but embraced with reliance on Allah. His wisdom was practical, empowering, and spiritually elevating. People turned to him not only for legal judgments but for moral guidance. His decisions were infused with fairness and empathy. He reminded leaders to rule with justice, families to treat one another with mercy, and individuals to guard their hearts from envy, anger, and pride. He believed that knowledge without action was a burden, and action without knowledge was misguidance. This harmony between intellect and spirituality made him a source of light for the Ummah. Even today, his words echo across cultures and generations. They are quoted in sermons, written in books, and cherished by those seeking clarity. They serve as a reminder that real wisdom is not about speaking a lot. It is about speaking truth in a way that transforms hearts. Hazrat Ali illuminated the Ummah not because he sought recognition, but because Allah placed within him a depth of understanding that continues to inspire, uplift, and guide Muslims to this very day. The legacy of Hazrat Ali is a legacy built not on monuments, wealth, or worldly power, but on values so pure and timeless that they continue to shape the hearts and minds of believers worldwide. Justice, integrity, and sacrifice were not just qualities he displayed, they were the very foundation upon which he lived every moment of his life. His commitment to fairness was so unwavering that it became a benchmark for all leaders who came after him. He did not judge based on tribe, status, or relationship. He judged based on truth. When he became the leader of the Ummah, he stood before the people and declared that their rights were sacred and that he would uphold justice even if it cost him personally. For him, authority was not a privilege. It was a responsibility before Allah. His integrity was equally unmatched. Ali was a man who did not compromise his principles, not even in the smallest matters. He lived a life of complete honesty, simplicity, and humility. Even when he had access to the treasury of a vast nation, he refused to take more than what was necessary for a simple life. While others in positions of power often enjoyed comfort, he continued to wear coarse clothing, eat modest meals, and live in a home that reflected his devotion rather than his status. He saw leadership as an opportunity to serve the people, not to rise above them. There were moments when his integrity was tested in ways that would break most people. Yet he remained steadfast, choosing what pleased Allah over what pleased society. Even when others disagreed with him, even when conflicts arose, he remained committed to truth and fairness. His famous words, "Do not look at who is speaking, but look at what is being said," reflected his belief that truth stands above personalities. And then there was his sacrifice, a sacrifice that began the moment he embraced Islam as a young boy. He sacrificed safety when he slept in the bed of the Prophet during the Hira. He sacrificed comfort when he stood in dangerous battles. He sacrificed personal desires for the well-being of the community. And during his leadership, he sacrificed ease and stability to uphold justice, even when it brought opposition and hardship. His entire life was a testament to putting the needs of the Ummah before his own. He taught that a true leader is one who stands with the oppressed, protects the weak, and resists corruption even if the whole world pressures him otherwise. This legacy of justice, integrity, and sacrifice is what makes Hazrat Ali not just a historical figure, but a timeless role model for every believer striving to live with honor and sincerity. The spiritual depth of Hazrat Ali was not something that appeared only in moments of hardship. It was a constant presence in his life, a defining feature of his character, and a reflection of a heart profoundly connected to Allah. His devotion was not ritualistic, it was heartfelt, sincere, and rooted in genuine awareness of his Lord. He worshipped with the humility of someone who knew the greatness of Allah and the smallness of the self. In every prayer, every supplication, and every moment of contemplation, his soul seemed to dissolve into submission and gratitude. He would stand in prayer with such focus that the world around him would fade away. His eyes would fill with tears as he recited the Quran, not out of fear alone, but out of love. A deep, overwhelming love for the one who created him, guided him, and honored him with Islam. His connection to Allah was so strong that when people looked at him, they saw a man who carried both strength and softness, courage and humility, leadership and servitude. His spirituality gave meaning to his actions and placed a divine purpose behind everything he did. Hazrat Ali understood worship in its fullest form. He did not see it as limited to the prayer mat. He saw worship in justice, kindness, patience, and service. He believed that true devotion was reflected in one's character, how you speak, how you forgive, how you treat the weak, and how you restrain yourself when anger tries to take over. His spiritual wisdom taught that the heart must be purified before actions can be accepted, and that sincerity is the key that unlocks divine mercy. One of the most beautiful aspects of his devotion was his constant remembrance of Allah. Whether in moments of victory or moments of pain, he turned back to his Lord. Whether advising people or leading them, he guided them toward righteousness. He believed that the greatest battle a believer faces is not on the battlefield but within the self-overcoming ego, desire, and pride. And through his own struggle, he became an example of what it means to live with a soul aligned to truth. He also possessed a deep understanding of the trials of this world. He knew that hardship was temporary, that worldly life was short, and that true success lay in closeness to Allah. His wisdom often reflected this awareness. He would remind people that hearts become alive through worship, that sins darken the spirit, and that humility is the ladder to divine elevation. Through his devotion, Hazrat Ali taught that spirituality is not an escape from life. It is the light that guides you through it. His life stands as a testament that the strongest people are those who bow their heads to Allah, that the most successful are those whose hearts beat with sincerity, and that the truest heroes are those who strive not for the world, but for the pleasure of their Creator. My beloved brothers and sisters, when we look at the life of Hazrat Ali, we are not simply studying history. We are witnessing a masterpiece of faith, character, courage, and devotion. Every phase of his life teaches us something profound. From his childhood in the home of the Prophet to his early acceptance of Islam, from his unmatched bravery on the battlefield to his incredible humility in daily life, from the depth of his wisdom to the purity of his spiritual devotion, his entire existence was a reflection of divine guidance. He showed us that greatness is not measured by power but by purpose, that strength is not in the sword but in sincerity, that wisdom is not in how much you know but in how beautifully you live, and that true honor is not given by people, it is given by Allah. Hazrat Ali stood firm when others hesitated, he forgave when others sought revenge, he spoke truth when others remained silent, and he worshipped with a heart that knew the closeness of its Creator. His life was a reminder that leadership requires sacrifice, knowledge requires humility, and faith requires consistency. As we reflect on his legacy, let us not merely admire him, let us strive to emulate him. Let us become people of justice, people of integrity, people of courage, people of wisdom, and most importantly, people of sincere devotion to Allah. May his life inspire us to walk with purpose, love with compassion, speak with honesty, and worship with a heart full of humility. And may Allah grant us the ability to follow the footsteps of those whom he has honored. Ameen.